It is 8 p.m. and here are our top stories. Aurora's former police chief speaks out for the first time since her termination.
I have to stand up for myself. I wasn't going to go quietly into the night. I wasn't going to accept a resignation and just walk away.
Vanessa Wilson tries to set the record straight and lays the blame for her firing at others' feet.
What I did was not popular. I understand that. Leadership is not a popularity contest.
Police investigating a string of shootings over the weekend, leaving 4 injured and 2 boys dead.
They've taken a part of our family.
Tonight, one of the victims' families speaks out as police search for those responsible.
It needs to stop. It needs to stop.
And President Biden takes aim at untraceable weapons to stem a rise in gun violence.
Law enforcement is sounding the alarm. Our communities are paying the price. We're acting today.
Good evening, and thank you for watching Denver 7 News on Local 3. I'm Jacqueline Allen.
I'm Danny New. 2 people who were shot and killed inside a car near Peoria Street and 39th Avenue have been identified as 13-year-old Jaden Hoyle and 14-year-old Adrian Foster.
Denver 7's Ivan Rodriguez has the latest on the investigation and spoke with one of those boys' family members who is now demanding justice.
Denver police says after a driver shot into the car of Hoyle and Foster, their car then went down Peoria and over this bridge where they later crashed into a pickup truck. That truck driver later died from his injuries. Both Hoyle and Foster were pronounced dead at the scene after Friday evening's shooting. We spoke with a family member of Foster who's choosing not to be identified. They tell us Adrian Foster had dreams of becoming a basketball or football player and was also touring schools in order to start college early. Now, the family feels a bright future was robbed at the expense of senseless violence.
They have taken a part of our family. A very important piece of our family is not here anymore. It's just like a part of your heart is gone.
We reached out to Denver police to get the latest on the case. They tell us they're still looking for anyone who may have information to help gather what happened that evening and are also looking for whoever was responsible for the shooting. Anyone with information is asked to contact Metro Denver Crime Stoppers. In Denver, Ivan Rodriguez, Denver 7.
Just heartbreaking. Thank you, Ivan. And police in Aurora responded to 2 shootings overnight that left 2 teenagers and 2 adults injured. Officers are still looking for the person who shot a teenage boy and girl during a street race. Officers were initially called to Alameda and Peoria for reports of street racing and fireworks. They found the shooting victims there when they arrived. Now, both are expected to survive.
And also overnight, a man and a woman were shot at an apartment near Colfax and Xanadu. The male victim is in critical condition. Officers did arrest the male suspect a few hours later.
Today, President Biden announced new steps aimed at regulating so-called ghost guns. The president says the guns that can be bought online in separate parts and assembled at home can easily get into the hands of minors and those who are not authorized to have a firearm.
Is it extreme to protect police officers? Extreme to protect our children? Extreme to keep guns out of the hands of people who couldn't even pass a background check?
This new measure would require background checks on people purchasing the kits and require manufacturers to put serial numbers on certain parts so these guns can be tracked. In response, Colorado's Democratic Congressman Joe Neguse applauded the move, saying it's time for swift, common sense, whole of government action to reduce the threat of gun violence and keep our kids and families safe. Additionally, Neguse is scheduled to announce new legislation targeting gun violence tomorrow. Now, the bill will address security measures as well as training to reduce threats of gun violence at schools, grocery stores, and other areas involving community gatherings.
Well, former Aurora Police Chief Vanessa Wilson addressed getting fired last week for the first time earlier today.
Denver 7 investigative reporter Jennifer Kovalevsky has been following this story for weeks, and she reports today that they are giving Wilson a chance to fire back when she called her firing politically motivated.
I wasn't going to accept a resignation and just walk away.
Aurora's now former police chief isn't going quietly.
There should not be partisan politics in public safety.
Less than a week since the city manager fired Vanessa Wilson, the former chief stood alongside more than a dozen community leaders and council members calling her firing an injustice.
The bottom line is that the chief showed up.
Chief Wilson was the pathway for equity.
City Manager Jim Twomley said it came down to a lack of leadership, a claim Wilson pushed back on.
Sir, You're very wrong. And I have to stand up for myself.
Wilson also talked about the massive records backlog Denver 7 investigates first exposed, an independent report which found more than 2,500 crimes stuck in a queue, delaying investigations. What did you know about the records backlog? What did you try to do about the records backlog?
Obviously, it's something no one wants, no chief wants to have happen or have to be dealing with. But we have been dealing with this for years. This is not a revelation. This was for lack of a better term, a convenient moment for them to disparage me. And that is the bottom line.
The city manager has stressed Wilson didn't lose her job because of the backlog, and he wasn't influenced by city council. But Wilson and community leaders called the move nothing more than politics.
What I did was not popular. I understand that. Leadership is not a popularity contest.
We work and live in a fractured city.
She held officers who engaged in misconduct accountable.
Jennifer Kovaleski, Denver 7.
Wilson did not announce a lawsuit against the city today, but said she is exploring all options. Meanwhile, APD is now being led by Division Chief Christopher Jewell. City leaders plan to name an interim chief in the coming weeks, and they hope to hire a permanent chief in the next 6 months.
And we now know what was in that suspicious package that shut down Highway 36 in Boulder Friday night. Several nearby homes also had to evacuate for several hours while investigators were on the scene. So a state patrol says a caller reported what appeared to be a pipe bomb on the side of the highway, and a bomb team eventually destroyed that package. However, authorities determined the item was a jump rope, albeit a weighted jump rope that had been modified with pieces of steel duct tape to the handles.
Oh my goodness. All right, fire crews are still working to put out wildfires that sparked across Colorado yesterday. The one near Pueblo is known as the Paws Fire. It was right next to the Paws Animal Shelter. That one is 75% contained. It's burned less than 20 acres. Evacuations have been lifted for the fire in El Paso County. This one is fully contained after burning nearly 40 acres. We do know a home and several buildings were damaged in that fire.
One of the companies that was not chosen to clean up debris from the Marshall Fire says that it's now going to drop its lawsuit against Boulder County if its selection process is reviewed in what it considers a fair manner. Florida-based Ceres Environmental Services Inc. claims the company Boulder County chose, DRC Contracting, held secret negotiations with the county. Despite the lawsuit, Boulder County says last week that it will move forward without changes to the current timeline, unless a judge, of course, orders otherwise.
Police made no arrests during celebrations at DU Saturday night. This is after the Pioneers won their 9th hockey national championship. Denver beat Minnesota State 5-1, and police say if you did have any property damage Saturday night, you can call their non-emergency line. Now tomorrow, there's going to be a big celebration of the Pioneers at 6 o'clock at night at Magnus Arena. The first 1,500 people there who are fans will receive commemorative championship posters.
And the postseason fun continues for Denver sports fans with the Nuggets beginning their playoff run this Saturday against the Warriors in San Fran. And good news, you can watch it right here on Denver 7 at 6:30. Oh, and you got to look at this. This is so cute. So UC Health sent us these photos of the newest Nuggets fans starting today.
Little
all
nugget.
babies born. I was going to read that, Jacqueline.
Oh, I didn't know it said
It's okay. Little nugget. Isn't that cute? Yeah, so all babies born at UC Health will receive a little Nuggets burp cloth to celebrate the postseason. Honestly, I feel like a team with Jokic and 4 babies could probably still make the playoffs. Good luck.
Coming up on Denver 7 News at 8, eviction notices piling up across Colorado.
People are losing their places left and right.
We go in depth on the growing crisis targeting one group in particular.
They're screening us out pretty much. It's sad to say, but we're being screened out.
A lot of wind out there and lots of advisories. Wind on the plains, snow in the mountains. I'll let you know what to expect here in Denver.
Plus, a Colorado nonprofit helping Marshall Fire victims get their groove back.
A light bulb went off and I was just like, why not get them to these people that have lost so much